nothing short of a miracle that Thumbelina was ever made. So Bluth wanted to make an adaptation of a Hans Christian Andersen novel. But just a couple years before that, there was another major adaptation of a Hans Christian Andersen novel, which was Walt Disney's The Little Mermaid. Now, it's never been confirmed whether this was entirely intentional by Bluth, but Jodie Benson does voice both The Little Mermaid and Thumbelina. And I've always just found that a bit suspicious considering everything. Now, why did I say it was a miracle that this movie got made? See, while this film was in production, the studio went bankrupt. This was due to the fact that their previous film, All Dogs Go to Heaven, was directly bankrupted by, you guessed it, Walt Disney's The Little Mermaid. They released at the same time, and this one completely overshadowed All Dogs Go to Heaven and resulted in a financial loss for the company. Because of this, Bluth faced financial difficulties and they failed to pay back a $300,000 loan that they owed. This caused the studio to go bankrupt and the court ordered everything liquidated. This meant that the entire production team, all 500 people, were laid off mid-production. However, a month later, a miracle occurred, and Merlin Studios and Media Assets both came together and acquired the studio for $14 million, and production resumed on Thumbelina, which also meant that all 500 staff that were previously laid off the month before were rehired. Prior to all of this occurring, Gilbert Gottfried had actually been cast as the role of the mole. However, while everything was going on, Disney came in, swooped him up, and took him for the role of Iago in Aladdin. Thankfully, Gottfried was able to make both of these things work out. Another issue occurred with the role of Mrs. Fieldmouse. Betty White was initially cast in the role, and she did actually record all of her lines for the role. However, Bluth didn't like it, so he went behind White's back and went ahead and recast her for Carol Channing. Unfortunately, he did not know that they were friends, and so Channing told White about her new role. This resulted in Betty White being extremely angry at Don Bluth and called him multiple times to express her anger. Bluth later went on record to say he regretted how he handled that situation, but it forever left a bad taste in Betty White's mouth. Despite all these challenges, production continued. Bluth went on record stating that this film was important to him as he wanted to send the message to little girls that they're able to handle any problem that comes their way by themselves. Unfortunately, once production was complete though, they ran into yet another issue. Their distributor, MGM, wanted to back out because they were still concerned about the studio's bankruptcy. They then shopped around for a studio who would distribute the film, and guess who actually offered? Disney. Thankfully, Disney's offer was declined, so Warner Brothers offered to distribute the film instead. Warner Brothers did distribute the film, though they did find an issue during test screenings. Whenever they would test screen the film, if they would play the Disney logo before the film, they would get higher results than when they played the Warner Brothers Pictures film. This made Bluth quite upset. Unfortunately, the film was a bit of a box office bomb. It only grossed $16 million on a budget of $28 million. It would also go on to be the first animated film to win a Razzie Award for Worst Original Song. Thankfully, though, it did have some redemption in its home video sales. It has since gone on to become a cult classic with many people enjoying it, as seen by my comments in my previous video, and I myself did enjoy the film greatly. At its core, I think Bluth did get his message across, and I do think it was a very successful film, even if the critics may disagree.